Hello, everybody. Welcome to our very first TueNighter tea. My name is Robin Gelfenbein. I have been helping curate and produce all of the events for TueNight on the Mighty Network. And before I bring up our featured guests for the evening, I just wanted to give you a little lay of the land if you have not been on Crowdcast before, but we are so excited to have you here. And hello to Liz, hello to Michelle. So great to have you here, as well as everybody who's chiming in on the chat. And we highly encourage you to do that. So if you look at the bottom, you're going to see a section that says polls and a section that says ask a question. So we have populated that with a couple of things. I'm going to add one in just a second, which is, which menopausal symptom do you want to beat the crap out of? So feel free to comment there, because our featured guests will be chatting about that among so many other things. And I'm going to drop another question in there in just a moment. If at any point you have any technical problems, I'll be keeping an eye on the chat and I will do my best to help you. Feel free to tag anything on social. And that's just a little bit of housekeeping we needed to go through. So I am so excited to bring up our fearless leader at TueNight. She is the editor and publisher of TueNight, which, for those of you who are not familiar, is a storytelling platform and community for grown-ass Gen X women. She's formerly the editorial director at RealSimple.com. She has been a reporter and editor, has contributed to Rolling Stone, Refinery 29, and she lives in Brooklyn with her architect husband and her very loud beagle. Give a huge welcome to Margit Detweiler. Woo! There's awesome emojis in the chat too. Feel free to untoggle.
Oh, I'm untoggling. Okay.
Untoggle.
Let me untoggle.
And hi, Margit.
Hi, Robin.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you? I'm
just fantastic. Thank you for that lovely intro.
My pleasure. I wanted to point out that because TueNight's all about, we're just getting started. I wanted people to see my shirt for this evening, which is good things are coming. So
good things are coming.
Just like, and if you pay attention to the color palette of Margit, our special guest, and me, I won't be on screen in a moment, you will notice an unintentional serendipitous experience. So anyway, so Margit, tell us about your tea mug and what you're drinking.
Oh yeah, well, since this is the very first TueNighter tea, we thought, we'd make a big splash of the tea that we're drinking. So here's my mug. My mug features some fabulous women that you might recognize. And I'm drinking, at some point, hopefully we'll get some sponsorships, tea sponsorships, right? So I'm drinking Positive Energy from Yogi. I love the Yogi teas, they're yummy. Anyway, this is not an ad, but maybe someday it will be. Someday.
I think that's great.
So super stoked to have everybody here. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for the lipstick comment, Rachel. I appreciate that. I will
let you take it away. I'm just gonna let you, if that's.
I was taking it.
Oh, that's okay. Take it. I've got my very fun.
Here, we didn't even. Sorry, I was so focused on my own mug.
It is totally fine. It is totally fine. Go do your thing. I know it's terrible. I thought I should do twinings because I feel like because of our outfits, we're kind of twinning tonight. So.
Oh my God! Did you just anyway? All right.
Of course, I just thought of it. All right. Enjoy, everybody. I will see you
Robin.
in a little bit. Thank you.
In a bit.
And remember to file your questions down below.
Oh yes, please do that. So, and those of you who have been with us before for TueNight events. Crowdcast should be familiar to you, but we're psyched to be on this platform again for you. So for those of you who don't know me, thanks to Robin for that great introduction. I'm the founder of TueNight, and TueNight, as Robin mentioned, is a platform for grown-ass women or Gen X women, women who know their shit, women who have experience, all those things. And this TueNighter tea that we're doing is kind of a part of our new community called the TueNighters. And really excited. We have recently moved our group off Facebook, and it is now at TueNighters.com. And we have a lot of women in there having conversations and doing workshops and courses and events like this. And we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, so we've been around for 7 years, and we do these live events, and hope to do many, many more of them. We'll talk later tonight about a few that are coming up. But before that, we have a very, very special guest this evening. Some of you may know her pretty well, and that's why you're here. Her name is Stacy London, and she is, as you know, one of America's foremost style experts, best known perhaps in a past life as the co-host of TLC's What Not to Wear. She hosted and executive produced 3 seasons of Love, Lust, or Run. She's written 2 books, Dress Your Best, which was published to stellar reviews, and The Truth About Style, a New York Times bestseller. She is also a 2-time TueNight storyteller. She's told stories at our event. She's an excellent writer and storyteller, something you might not know. And now she is CEO of State of, which is a line of skin and body products for menopause symptoms and women. And we are super excited she's here. So please welcome Stacy London. Untoggle, girl. That's what we have to do with our video, untoggle. There she is.
I did it.
You're untoggled. Yes.
Hello.
How are you? Oh
I'm
my
so
God, it's
well.
so good to see you.
I just want to say you don't have to match. You just have to go, right? But you, me, and Robin all match tonight.
We do. It's the red, the black, your black hair, her red t-shirt. It's very serendipitous.
It's true.
Okay, so Margaret, do you want to talk about some of or I can talk about our upcoming events and courses?
Yeah, you want to, you do it. Robin is, I just want to say Robin is doing an amazing job of producing. There is a bug in here, by the way. I think it's like from the flowers that I put there. It's like float anyway.
It's okay. It's very Mike Pence of you.
Oh my gosh, wait. If I put my hair down like this, I actually have like that's a whole thing. Sorry, you guys did not come for this, but anyway,
that's okay.
Let's talk. Robin is doing an amazing job producing these courses, and I'm so thrilled to have her in our TueNighters group. And so yeah, tell us about the upcoming courses.
Yeah, so some of our students are actually here. So I have been teaching the art of storytelling for the past couple of weeks. It's a 4-week course that wraps next Tuesday night. So if you want to get in on it and watch all of the classes, if you have any interest in learning how to tell your own story, we have 1 more class for that. In June, so we do courses and workshops and TueNighter teas. We're having a wonderful workshop on June 16th, which is actually a Wednesday night, with Keisha TK Dutess, who is going to talk to us about secrets to a career change. She used to be a nurse, and now she's an audio producer, and she's worked with Roxane Gay. She is badass. And
she's awesome.
Thank you, Julie. You're very sweet to say that. TK rocks. Our next TueNighter tea is going to be on Tuesday, June 8th at 7 p.m. So they'll be a little bit earlier going forward. And we're going to have Uju, is it Asika?
Asika, yep.
Talking to us about how to talk to your kids about race, which is obviously very
a new
very
book.
Important. Yeah. Then we're doing another TueNighter tea, which is Tuesday, June 29th at 7 with Kristen Van Ogtrop.
And my old boss at Real Simple. And you know what? Here's the tea. I'm going to give you guys the tea.
So good. Such good tea.
She actually fired me. Not what laid me off, but so we're going to talk about that.
Heck yeah. Among other midlife indignities. So I'm going to put a little link in the chat if you want to join us over there. We've got also classes coming up. Let me see if Stacy's back in. Forgive me, Stacy. Oh, did you? Says she's accepted and connecting. Let's see. There she is. And we also have a whole online dating course that we're going to be doing in September. We've got stuff we're planning for October about how to write death documents and all kinds of end of life
living
issues.
Wills. I need to do that so bad.
Yes.
Sadly.
I'm not saying you do, but
what plans do you have for me, Robin?
I don't.
You can have all my records.
Thank you. I try to be pretty good about that kind of stuff. I just put a link down below. You'll see the green bar that
nice.
says join TueNighters if you're interested.
Which menopausal symptom do you want to beat the crap out of? Do we have any answers to that? Not yet.
Okay. You
2
can
votes.
put your comment. Oh,
you can comment. Well, let me see.
Okay. And
I'm
the other
gonna
thing I would also just say,
frog.
I would also just say for those of you who have questions for Stacy, we're doing a Q&A at the end. So you can also drop your questions into the Ask a Question section so that Margit can pull there.
Yes, brain fog is the worst. Is my least fave.
I feel like I know what that
and crime
like.
scene periods, definitely.
Oh, geez.
Mine are, thankfully, God bless, they're over. So, well, I'm in there. But yeah.
Okay.
Hot flashes. Yep. And actually, Harold, so Stacy is the CEO of State of, and I have some of their products. This is pretty awesome. It's like a cooler. It's like to cool you down. I could spritz myself here. Let's do that while we're reading. So now I'm going to be all, anyway, it feels really good, but I don't want to get all, spritzy.
Oh, wait. It looks like Stacy might be.
Yes!
I
was spritzing myself.
I got just time for the spritz.
Also,
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You're great. You look great. Now we can show everybody how we are so color coordinated.
All right.
So cute.
Guys, and I apologize. This is my, my nightmare as a Gen Xer is that I cannot get with technology fast enough. And I just want to shout out, thank you, Rachel Sklar, for telling me your boyfriend can help me. If he could come over, that would be awesome. Because now, I don't know about you guys. I mean, obviously the whole last year we've been doing this, but I've only ever done crap on my phone. Trying to use my computer is just like a bloody nightmare.
Yeah. The phone is actually, we should embrace the mobile. Embrace it.
That's right. All
right,
I'm going to let you two take it away. So tee up, ladies. And
we are well teed up. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a great time.
Bye,
Robin. Bye, Robin.
Bye.
Oh, Stacy, I love you. Thank you for rolling with it.
Thank you for watching and rolling with it. I mean,
of course. Well, let us start. Let's just jump right in. Well, let's jump in with this. How are you feeling? How are you doing? How's your state of mind today? Save for all the craziness we just had.
I'm so tired. No, actually, I would say that, having this new position, it was funny when I was listening to you introduce me, I thought, oh my God, there's so many different things that I've done. I've written books. I've been on television. I was a magazine editor. I mean, I've had all these iterations, right?
Yeah.
And here I'm about to be 52 next week. And I have decided to take on this mega challenge, which is a real pivot for me, because even though obviously I get to have talks like with you and fun people and do podcasts, really, I am actually running a company, like a full-on company for the first time. And it is truly exhausting. And there are days where I'm just like, why did I decide to do this? But
yep.
You and I talked a little bit about this, like when we were just talking about doing this chat. Really, truly, I'm having both. I'm still kind of having pandemic, PTSD, because whole year sort of sitting with ourselves, and that was certainly the impetus for my wanting to pivot careers. But now I have anxiety about re-entry. Like all of a sudden, nobody's wearing masks.
I know.
I'm not vaccinated, but we're all supposed to just pretend like it's all normal. And
I know.
I that to be very exhausting on top of having a new job. So that's
totally. We can't underestimate that stress and the everything that we've gone through. And I think we all have to give ourselves a big break, and so what a great time to become the CEO of a company, Stacy.
I know.
Sorry. I mean, it is, right? We're all doing these. I mean, sometimes it's everybody sort of like you jump in or or not. And I think for some of us, it's like, I know for me, it's like just jumping in is a way to kind of also just deal with the stress of what's going on. Let's like look over here, do this thing, right?
Right.
I don't know.
I hope it was slightly more considered than that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, yes.
For almost, oh gosh, I mean, in August, it'll be a year that I first started having the conversations about taking over the company. It was not a company, it was a brand at a company. And I bought the brand and made it a standalone company. But part of the reason for that was certainly due to the fact that I had a lot of time to sit around and think about, very fortunately, and I recognize the privilege in being able to sit around and think about this, but, I've experienced a lot in the last 4 years that has sort of informed both, all the decisions that I've sort of been making in my life lately. And part of that is a lot to do with being Gen X and sort of where we find ourselves at this time in our lives. And part of it had to do with my experience with perimenopause. And part of it had to do with the fact that when I went to networks and streaming channels to talk about the idea of transformation in middle age, and what that could look like aside from just clothing, I got shot down basically for being told that it was not a sexy show, that nobody would watch, that nobody was interested. I left feeling, very, very much like, okay, I guess my career in TV is over. Or I internalized what they were saying about the show, certainly about myself. And that I went through a real crisis, honestly, identity crisis about who I am if I'm not on television. I didn't want to write another book. I was sort of annoyed about everything kind of not coming together, right? And I'm very lucky in my career that things have just naturally kind of come together. And it's the first time that I thought, I have to pull myself out of this and figure out what it is that I want to do. And to do that, I guess at 51 is kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. And so I really thought very strongly about what is sort of, I keep calling it my kernel of truth, but really it's what thread that has sort of been in my life, throughout every iteration of my career as a fashion editor, as a writer, as a style expert, and certainly what I did on What Not to Wear, which was obviously not really about the clothes. I think that I've always been interested in sense of self, sense of self-esteem, sense of self-acceptance, sense of self-awareness. And I lost you. All I see is your picture now. Did you disappear? Is that
no,
just
I'm
me?
here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can everybody see me, or that just?
I see you, Margit. Everything looks okay on my end.
Okay.
I'm
here, Stacy.
Great. Yeah. But so all of those things held true. Most of my you're back. Okay, so most of my career, and pretty much all of my career, and then I had a crisis of self. Right, I had a crisis of. I don't know who I am without my shows. I don't know who I am without my books. I don't know who I am without this kind of full-time job. And part of that came out of, being knocked down by spine surgery, which I think I've talked about quite a bit, but I had spine surgery at the end of 2016. And that took about 8 months to recover from. But right after I had the surgery was the last time I got my period. And then I started getting all these perimenopausal symptoms. And I was starting to kind of cope with what was happening to me. And I had no idea that all of my symptoms were related. My dad got very sick, and my family about a year taking care of him before he passed away. And then after that, thank you. But that's when I had like a full-on crisis, right? I felt the mortality of losing my dad. I felt like I'm now really in middle age. This is a very different feeling. And I really was just completely felled by grief, by external circumstances, but more and more by physiological stuff that I did not know what to do or how to deal with. And it really became for me sort of this quest, right? I was going to my primary care physician. I was going to my gynecologist. I was going to therapy. I mean, I was like, everything about me feels like it's no longer me that I'm looking at. feel like, and I found it to be a very existential crisis. Now, that could be because I'm a philosophy major, or was a philosophy major in college, and that explains
Yes.
a lot. But
I didn't know that about you. I did a little of my homework and I was like, oh, you went to Vassar and studied philosophy? Yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing. It's
yes.
awesome.
So yeah, I studied philosophy, psychology, and literature. So they're talk about connecting the
Triple
dots,
threat.
right? I mean, it all makes
Yeah.
sense. But so I guess really what I wanted to say, because this was a very long-winded answer of how are you, is that I guess I found myself in the middle of an existential crisis, and I thought, I'm going to take my own existential crisis, because it can't just be me that is experiencing this, and find what's personal and important about it. And out of the personal usually comes the universal, or
Yep.
certainly you find your tribe, right?
That's right.
And that's what happened for me, and that's sort of why I decided to take this company on.
That's amazing. That's such an amazing story. I mean, I think it's such an important demographic. Those of us going through menopause, and it's so undervalued and underappreciated. And it's, I often wonder, like, why don't we have, the way we get our little period kit in the mail when we're 13, 12 or 13? Where's the and it's not. I mean, there's obviously some shame around that too, like that we're trying to like get rid of. But I still feel like there is a little bit of celebration too in that moment. I feel like we need to, menopause sucks, but I think we need to like embrace it and say it out loud. I don't know what you think about the term menopause, but
I mean, so I know that men stands for, month, it's Latin,
right.
but what the fuck is men doing in that
right?
word?
What the hell?
But here's the thing. I rather than the word, I agree with you about using, our celebration of getting our periods is a perfect example.
Yep.
That there is shame around that, and that I think has more to do with the way we look at women's health and women's hormonal cycles through this kind of patriarcho heteronormative lens of like what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable for women to do or experience or feel or have health wise. We are praised for being fertile. We are cast aside when we are in menopause as somehow past our prime or past our expiration.
Mm-hmm.
All of it is bullshit. So, or at least that's my opinion. So I feel
I think everybody in the chat's opinion too. Right?
I feel the big things about this is that we are starting to celebrate this idea of what it means to not be ashamed of getting your period, or bleeding through your white jeans, or carrying a tampon to the bathroom. But
Yep.
we are not talking about the entire arc, or at least the entire scope of women's health. And it's not just women. Menopausal symptoms are not just Gen X symptoms, right? I mean, this happens to at any age who have to deal with radical hysterectomies, breast cancer, chemo, endometriosis, premature ovarian insufficiency, and also for trans, intersex, and gender non-binary people who are experiencing queer menopause. And so we are not being inclusive, one, when it comes to women and those who identify as women, when it comes to this final frontier of hormonal health, because we don't talk about it at all. And then when we do talk about it, I think in some cases, there is the very real fear that this becomes sort of a middle class white woman problem who's just like, hot in here, when it is actually an incredibly deeply complicated physiological time in any person's life who is experiencing it. And we tend to, I think as women, dismiss our symptoms as being, oh, I'm being crazy, I'm being melodramatic, because that's sort of what we're internalized to think, instead of actually what our bodies are telling us, or thinking about what we're feeling, and the intrusive thoughts and the anxiety, the depression, mood swings. I mean, there's so much that happens in this period, and especially we're coming to it naturally, right? I think then we can menopause and middle age, but if you are coming to both at the same time, it is a real moment, I think, of identity crisis. And I believe in midlife crisis in that, only in that, you need to have one to get to the midlife renaissance, right? It's sort of like Phoenix from the ashes.
Yes.
And you don't get to escape unless there's a villain. So
Oh my God, that's amazing. You don't get to wear the cape unless there's a villain. Can we get rid of the villain?
I mean, if you want to wear the cape, then you have to have a villain.
It's hilarious. Well, all right. So let's get into the products a little bit, just because I have to say, like, here's my what a QVC moment. Like, ooh, yeah, I love. Okay, I just brought these. I have your products, and the body cream is one of my favorites. It's so rich and amazing and like delicious, and I just absolutely love it. And I don't know, it doesn't have a scent, I don't think, right? Or it does? No, which I love, actually.
Want to have a scent.
And then the freaking cooling spray, which is my jam. Oh my God, this thing for hot flashes is just like, it just brings you to this place. Or even when I'm not, and just having a meditative moment, I'm just like, all right, let me spritz it.
Oh my God, Margit, I love it so much. Yeah, so there are 12 products on the line. Thank you for even bringing up the products. I didn't even know we were going to go.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, it's awesome. It's what you're doing. And I think it's a landmark thing. I mean, I think there, and like, I'm sorry, this really is not an ad, but I'm just so impressed because the colors are cool. It's not like a cheesy mauve, like what? It's like an awesome line. Anyway.
Thank you. I mean, you're so kind. We're the reason that they're color coded is that we're really dealing with 4 different lanes. We're dealing with cooling, moisturizing, like hydration, pain, really about like resting and renewing when you have muscle fatigue or joint pain, which it can be quite serious at perimenopause, and strength, building up the strength of your hair, or your nails, or your skin, and starting, right? So I get a little prickly when I'm like, oh, you're a skincare company. I'm like, nope, that's where we're starting. We're starting with solves for things that are discomforting in like right from the get-go, right? So this a hot flash is uncomfortable. What can you reach for in the moment? Really dry, itchy skin. What can you do for it in the moment? I think there are a lot of menopause companies, and now you're really going to start to see them crowding your different areas of your digital experience. You'll see ads like that. But a lot of people are talking about it more in terms of supplements, in terms of long-term, what those solutions can look like. And I have absolutely nothing against that. We have some supplements on our line. But for me, it was very important to think about gaining the trust of this consumer. And because I was a beta tester for the brand, which is how I came to, acquire the company, I already knew that these products worked. I already knew that they did what they said they were going to do. And, my whole past career as a spokesperson, I never got behind a product that you had to media train me for, because I don't believe in that. And a lot of the work that I'm seeing in menopause right now is around marketing and not actually solutions. And so for me, important that if I was going to take this on, that I could stand behind all of the products that we make. So we, and when I say we, I mean me, that it was really important to gain the trust of the consumer by taking the products that were on the line and saying, here's where we start. You can go to our website, which is stateofmenopause.com, and you can shop the symptoms. And we only put up the symptoms that we are solving for right now. As we add product, we add symptoms, right? Because the idea is to kind of look, or at least for me, the idea is to look at menopause as kind of a pie. And we need to take a slice off at a time so that we can really solve for one area, right? And in this, we have our 4 lanes, and we plan on adding more. But the idea was to be able to be on your nightstand or in your medicine cabinet and help you feel better now. Because
that's awesome.
I just don't think that we think that much about how uncomfortable we are and how that just presents as shame or embarrassment, or it just makes us, it's not just physical discomfort. We start to feel psychologically a little bit batshit.
Right. And you personally tested like these products, right? Didn't you? Like, you were telling me how you got in there. We're like, nope, this one needs some more, like, I don't know. Right.
So you say that you love body lotion, right? And we launched about to go under me, me as the new CEO. And I thought, okay, the face oil and the cooling spray and the cooling gel, those are like going to be the best sellers. And they're very good sellers. But the body lotion, people have gone nuts over the body lotion because one of the things when I was a beta tester, I was like, you can't make a body lotion for us if we have hot flashes and night sweats that doesn't absorb into the skin. I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night with a night sweat feeling goopy if I've taken moisturized all up. So this moisturizer actually just absorbs into the skin, like it disappears.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. So I made a big deal about asking for that. But I would say that if I had to choose a favorite product, it would probably be the face oil. That's all I wear.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's good too. Yep. I've tried that too. So tell me a little bit about, in terms of your career and your pivot. Like, I know a lot of us in our 40s and 50s, as you said, are in this like sort of midlife renaissance or reinvention. What was that? I mean, it's, you've talked a little bit about this, but like, it seems sort of drastic on its surface, that you've gone from, sort of the style icon maven and a writer to like now you're CEO of a company. What has that trajectory been like, and how have you kind of prepared yourself or not? Are you kind of rolling with it, or are you consciously, what are you doing? You both?
Fantastic advisors. I'm very lucky. And this is where I have to shout out the TueNighters and the List.
And yes, the List.
The Swell, and people that have become part of my, like, what I consider, my corporate advisory board, who are all friends who have all been able to contribute significantly into the way that I want to run this company. One of the things that I felt was really important was I was not getting where I wanted to be anymore. So if I was going to be doing the television shows that I wanted to, and frankly, the unscripted television landscape is not what it was when I did What Not to Wear. And I am not interested in a 90-day fiance type of arrangement for me personally. Just, I don't know. I don't have any room there. And that's not to say I'll never do television. Maybe there will be a time when, what I'm really interested in doing becomes something that channels and networks are interested in. I don't know. But what I really felt frustrated by was this idea of letting life happen to me, that I had very lucky. And, I put a step forward and the path appeared, and I wasn't feeling like I could put a step forward and get anywhere. I was trying to write a book. I have 200 pages of complete nonsense. It just nothing was working for me.
Yeah.
And I started to feel this lack of agency in my own life, which I do think in a lot of ways did have to do with perimenopause, did have to do with, like, seeing my body change and watching myself get older and feeling like I was sort of cast off in a way, and not knowing what to do with that feeling, and feeling like I had to do something. Now, it may seem like this was very drastic, but one, I was already beta testing for the company. And two, I felt really strongly about being in charge, about being to take control and make decisions. And that doesn't mean traditional CEO. I'm not. I didn't go to business school. I have a background in creative brand direction, but certainly not in D2C e-commerce. But I am doing my homework, and I have a great team to help support me and advise me. And part of this is really much bigger than me. And whether or not I am the CEO or not the CEO, it's much more about the fact that this conversation needs to be had. And nobody with any kind of real public following was talking about it. And, I was like, here's the opportunity for me to take my platforms and the people that I've been talking to for 20 years who have trusted me to tell them when they look good and when they don't, and say, this is something that we need to talk about out loud. I've got your back, and I am only entering this conversation because I feel like I have something to offer and some solutions, or at least options for you. And the more that I can sort of yell and scream from the treetops, the more we normalize and, in fact, optimize this conversation for the people who come after, right? So people in their 40s and 30s or 20s who may experience menopause early or for whatever reason are going to benefit from the conversations that we're having now. And as Gen Xers, I think, we have talked about the fact that we've broken lots of glass ceilings.
Oh yeah.
Why not continue, I mean, to really look at, what is traditionally called women's health and own what it is and own this roller coaster, instead of being sort of shamed into thinking that we're hysterical, that we're moody, that we're difficult, that we're bossy, when really this is just about understanding our own physiology in comparison with, let's say, male physiology,
right,
where their hormones don't ever drop. And that's where we get this sense of them being level and us being kind of all over the
right.
place. Like, why is one better than the other?
Exactly.
Why? And why do we feel so shamed by that?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just centuries, centuries of shame we're trying to battle here. I mean, I often wonder, like, and we're on the same path of trying to really sort of, we amplify or really bring to light the stories and issues of women in Gen X women in midlife. What do you think success looks like? Like, when do we get to a place where what's the dream? What's the goal in your mind?
Well, I don't believe in success,
Mm.
and I failure. After I realized that those are value judgments tied to expectation, and
Yep.
I did not get. I mean, of course, I want a successful company. You don't you don't take a company on and be like, "Gosh, I hope it goes bankrupt." But I really see this as a much bigger thing than just this company, right? We are a brand that stands for something. And part of this is really liberating this conversation. And that goes way products we sell. We want to be able to inform and educate people, which is why we're creating a medical advisory board. Once our blog goes live on menopause.com, you'll be able to read not just articles from doctors, but also first-person accounts of the way that perimenopause, menopause, and post have affected people. And, one of the things that I think is so important is I see this moment is success. If I was going to put a label on it, because the terror of not thinking that I could do this, of, being like, I'm not a CEO. Well, nobody's born a CEO, right? I mean, this is something you decide to do. You can decide to kind of pave your own future. But even more than that, it was being able to kind of take my ego and my vanity out of it and be like, this is a much bigger moment for me than anything I've done before, because everything I've done before, I was sort of trained to do my whole life, right? I've always been in fashion. I've always been in style. I've always been a talker. So, unscripted television for me. But this is something bigger. This was about my experience actually informing what is happening culturally, and wanting to be able to sort of, cast my vote in this conversation or cast my ballot and be able to talk about these things and not allow people's associations with me to get in my way. Right. One of the biggest problems that I have encountered in my life is being put in a box and being told I can only do one thing, and being put in a box and being said, well, everybody knows you from What Not to Wear. How can you do anything else? Everybody's going to have to get over that. You know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
What I am doing is what feels important to me. And the outcome is really that this is not about the company, but about a movement towards conversations that now feel uncomfortable, but in 10 years won't, in 5 years shouldn't. And if we're the ones who are leading the way and we are the ones who are talking about this, then it is going to make it easier for everyone else to see us through a different lens. And I am sick of this past my prime shit, or, being
unfuckable.
This crap that I feel so strongly about, and I know you do.
Yes.
So how do you change that? Well, then, let's change our expiration dates. I'm going to have my third career at 51. And I hope that stands as sort of a symbol for other people to be able to do that and give themselves permission and agency to do that.
We are the ones we've been waiting for, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's just like making it happen, Well, somebody had a great comment in the chat. Sorry, let me scroll back. Oh, well, Beth says, you are the anti-goop. I love this. What do you feel about that comment? Because it's like, I do also feel like embracing, Justine Bateman actually has a whole book on face and just like being in Hollywood and embracing the way you look, just normalizing like these things that we're going through and appreciating us, coming to the party as we are, right? So how do you feel about
And
that?
I would say, like, I'm so impressed with Justine Bateman. I think this
Right?
book is incredible. The film that she's going to do about it is incredible. And I think that's another kind of amazing step forward when it comes into this, like the way that we judge women. But for
Yep.
me, it's not just about that, right? As far as I'm concerned, you need to do whatever is best for you in terms of vanity, right? If
Sure.
you want the Botox, get the Botox. You want the facelift, get the facelift. If you want to, feel more comfortable in your own skin, and Justine Bateman sort of gives you permission to do that, awesome. But I don't really give a about your wrinkles. Like I care about your discomfort and the shame that surrounds menopause. That is the
Yes.
barrier to when it comes to this conversation. And I am not, aging and menopause get conflated. And when they happen at the same time, it's easy to see why. But that isn't always the case. And I do feel very anti-goop. Yes, I appreciate whoever said that.
Beth. Yes, Beth
Not
said that.
problem with Gwyneth, but because I think that they and a lot of other companies are looking at this from how can we get women to buy more stuff that makes them feel younger. That is
Yes.
about and about vanity instead of about like what makes you feel good, what makes you feel healthy, what makes you feel in a time that feels very fragile and fraught with difficulty. And so I'm kind of sick of everybody like, saying like, oh, your skincare company. I'm like, nope, that's not what our skincare does. Like it is a product that your skin looks radiant and pretty and whatever. But the benefit is that we're cooling you down, we're hydrating your skin due to loss of collagen. That is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in, like, it's what I said about what not to wear, right? It was never about clothes. It was always about what the clothes can do. And this is the exact feeling for me. I mean, we sell products, yes, but it's not what products we sell, it's what the products can do for you while you are experiencing perimenopause, which could maybe you have a couple hot flashes and you're done. Or maybe you have it like I have when I couldn't go on hormones, and I basically had every major symptom of perimenopause that you can have. And I really started to feel crazy. And nobody said to me, here's what's happening to you. Here's what's going on with you. Even my doctors really didn't, they were like, it's menopause. And they were like, my gynecologist said something to me about, my sex life, like use it or lose it. And I was like, that's it. That's what you're giving me.
Yeah.
And these conversations are so long overdue. The fact that I was forgetting words in mid-sentence, the fact that I couldn't remember the sentence I had just said, I went to a doctor because I thought I had Alzheimer's. Their bug is real. Like these are that that are all lighthearted, although I try to, kind of joke around about them. But at the same time, I feel like nobody was listening to me. Nobody knew what to tell me. And I think that's also because as a Gen Xer, I was experiencing the grief of losing a parent. I was experiencing failing health stuff with my spine. So it was really easy to write off what was happening to me in terms of physiology, because you could be like, look, her dad died. Look, her spine's broken. All of these kind of external circumstances, when I think it was much more complicated than that. And I certainly, or people not to feel like they have to go through some huge crisis to understand that perimenopause is actually a physiological condition where you need to start worrying about other things other than just what's happening to you in the moment. But this is when you need to start worrying about cardiovascular health. This is when you need to start worrying about bone health, brain health. And all of those things are not talked about. We don't have agency if we don't have information.
That's right. We have on the heart health topic, we have a question from Julie, who asks, in addition to the fab state of products, do you have plans to further engage or collaborate for causes surrounding menopause? For example, only 50% of women realize heart-related conditions are the #1 cause of death in women, US and globally. Research suggests one condition in particular, SCAD, spontaneous coronary artery dissection. Oh, it's late. Dissection is linked to hormone changes around menopause. So anyway, what's your thoughts around that?
I've been thinking very hard about this. One of the things that we are thinking about as a company, after we get funded, by the way, is that I've been thinking about the fact that it would be very easy, and I'm always happy and will always be happy to donate product to any underserved community in any situation. It goes without saying you could ask me in the chat for something, and if that was necessary, then we would send it to you. But if you are in a domestic abuse shelter and you're having a hot flash, but you're worrying about, feeding your children,
Right.
me sending product isn't necessarily what's going to help you.
Right.
And it's like this idea of what you don't know could kill you type of thing. So looking into is being able to help fund independent clinical studies, because menopause is so under researched. So in the case of heart health, we would want to do, sponsor a clinical study that links perimenopause physiology to heart health, to be able to kind of prove that that information exists, how to help women, how to amplify that message, things like that. Although I am really curious, and this is something I think, again, as your audience, I would love to ask what you would like to see, how you would like to see a company like this give back. Because the last thing that I want is for this company to feel that it is not for everyone, right? I mean, you don't have to be menopausal. You can be pre-diabetic, which can also happen in perimenopause, and have really dry skin. We are for you. We are here for your hydration, right? But this idea that we want to find a cause that is baked into the brand DNA is tricky for me, because, the minute you're saying, okay, underserved communities need menopausal products. Yes, they do. We're happy to give them, but they don't necessarily need them as underserved communities. That does not become their priority. How do we help those communities? Is it information? Is it education? Is it clinics? So we are looking into the best way that we can really bake cause into the DNA of this brand. It's, we try to be economically just in the fact that our prices are quite low, certainly compared to our competition, but we have to do more than that. And I am really trying to figure out what is the best way. So I am open to suggestions really from anybody in your audience, because this is exactly the work that we're trying to do at the moment.
Yeah, and if folks have any ideas now, feel free to put it in the chat, or we can also continue the conversation on TueNighters. And you're in there as well, Stacy. And so, just if people have ideas about this, I think it's a great topic. If folks have questions for Stacy, definitely either put them in the question box where it says ask a question, or put them in the chat. Does anybody want to come up and ask Stacy a question? Maybe raise your hand. Robin, is that okay? Stacy, is that okay? I just threw that in there. Panic.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Does anybody want to ask Stacy a question?
Just if you want to say, I'll go up in the chat, and then I'll click something to invite you on, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Cool. Stacy, what makes you a grown-ass woman?
My ass. No. I mean, this is one of the things that I think is really interesting, is that we were joking around yesterday. I was like a little bit hyper yesterday, and somebody was saying on the quick live that we did that I have very adolescent energy. And, in some regards, I think I do. In some ways, I'm incredibly immature. But I think that what
we
makes
all like, that's like, it's that perennial thing that Gina Pell quotes. I don't know if you know Gina, but like there's, you want to have that youthful energy, and you can have it when you're 85 years old. And
absolutely.
So,
but I think what makes me a grown-ass lady isn't so much adolescent energy as it is my renewed curiosity, right? I think I got so bored with everything.
Yep.
And it really felt like almost like being that adolescent kid who's like, I don't care about anything, right? What has really made me feel like so grown up and so, in my power, if I can use that trite expression, is that I have this unbelievable renewed sense of curiosity and wonder. and much less a sense of expectation. Expectation, I
Yes.
have said once, is the death of possibility. And I am now just completely enamored with possibility and what I can do. Like, I don't know. I had this weird thought last night brushing my teeth that I have to worry about everything because there is no goal here other than screaming from the rooftops about something uncomfortable and making it less uncomfortable. That's really the goal. And I feel so good about that, that it's not like I'm panicked about everything else.
Yeah.
I always make choices and then think, oh God, did I make the right choice? There were so many other choices I could have chosen. What if I made the wrong one? Instead of thinking, I made this choice and now the universe is going to surround me, like based on the fact that I made that choice, and help things come to fruition. Instead of like worrying that I made the wrong choice, I'm leaning into the choice I made. And that's a very different feeling from the way I used to handle myself.
What a great answer. I need to quote you on that one. Curiosity. I love that word. It's funny. That word popped into my head this week as well. I was actually thinking that part of what sort of like TueNight is about, or the folks who are in TueNight are curious people who want to explore what's next, and stay fresh, interested in new things, music and whatever, putting themselves out there. I think that is part of the quality that, the folks here bring to the table. So I love that word. I think it's a good one.
Wants to ask me a question. Really?
Oh yeah. Wait, who does? Nobody does? Guys, it's late. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of people here too. No, nobody, no takers. Come on, y'all. I'm looking.
Or if they're shy, just put it in the. Beth has.
I just put it in the chat. Yeah.
Beth has a question. You want me to bring you up, Beth?
Or yeah, I can't see the chat now that I'm on my phone.
Rachel asks,
Beth
"How are you so hot?"
I
Rachel
am hot.
Sklar asks.
See, I'm having a little hot flush, not a hot flash. And I don't even have any of my cooling spray. So there you go.
I'll spritz you virtually. Virtual spritz. What is Beth's question? Let's see. Or Dory asks, how many people are working with you?
Right now, I have 3 freelancers and me.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? It's the truth, right? When you're doing these things, it's actually like, well, it's just me really. And then like, a bunch of freelancers.
That's what startups are. And, I have had a very steep learning curve in terms of how hard fundraising is. And, these are all the things that I'm learning. I was lucky in the fact that I acquired this brand that already had inventory and a warehouse and all of these things set up for me. But now we really have to go out and, it's not just proof of concept, right? We're finding our product market fit and the way that we have changed the tone and the positioning of the product. So it's going to be, again, this is, instead of worrying about what I don't know, I am excited about what I'm learning. And it is a very different feeling. It is the first time that I've done something this drastic and this scary without being so afraid. And that's not fair. I would like positive outcomes, but I at this age, right? Really what makes me a grown ass lady is that I trust my choices.
Yes. Yes. It's so true. Because we have experience. We have decades of, and that experience should be valued, I think. And it's what makes us wonderful and
heroic. I think that this idea that we have to, we internalize our value by the way we are treated culturally, right?
Yes.
And while changing, and I think that there is a much bigger conversation to be had about, marginalized populations finally getting a little bit more centralized in terms of our attention. I think that part of the bigger problem is all of this need for external validation instead of validating ourselves and then deciding who we care about externally. And so again, that's part of what this reframe is about. I'm like, I'm not going to allow myself to be defined by being a piece of talent or past my prime as talent or any of that shit. That's just not who I am. That's not who I want to be. And that's certainly not what I'm going to do with the next 40 years of my life. Because if our hands are getting longer and Beverly Cleary is dying at 104, well, you know, we're just getting started.
TueNighter tagline.
Yeah.
We do have a couple questions, and I think, are you okay to go over just a little bit since we had a few hiccups, just a few more minutes? So let's see.
I'm totally fine to go over.
Okay, cool. All right. So TueNight asks, that's Robin, is hair thinning part of perimenopause and or menopause? And if so, what do you recommend for it?
Yes, it is. And I can't recommend anything yet, but get back to me in July.
Okay.
Hair loss, broken hair, brittle hair, all of these things are a part of perimenopause.
Yep. Stacy, what is your biggest fear with this new endeavor?
What is my biggest fear with this new endeavor? I guess, I don't know. I mean, I was going to say if we sell out, but then that's a golden handcuff problem.
Right.
This fear is that we won't make a dent in the universe. And by that, I just mean that, again, this isn't about me. It's about the company being a vehicle to amplify voices about an issue that is cast in shame and cast in shadow. And I really do think that it is time to change that. And so I guess my greatest fear is that we won't reach that we won't hear that from, other people, that we won't normalize this conversation enough. Yep.
As our bodies change as we get older, what advice besides your fab products do you have to feel our best? So what's your advice to feel our best?
Well, one thing that I wish that I had learned, and again, that I wish somebody had told me before I entered perimenopause, was how important strength training was going to be once I was in. Because not only are we losing collagen, we're losing muscle. We are, loss of estrogen creates the menopause middle. I highly recommend. I would also love for you to follow us at Shop State Of, both on Instagram and Facebook. But I did an Instagram Live with my sister, who is a registered dietitian and the head of nutrition at Weight Watchers. Don't let that get in the way. She wrote a book called Side, and we did not talk about dieting. We did not talk about like intermittent fasting or keto or all these things that people are talking about. We talked about what nutritional needs you have when you have this kind of loss of estrogen and what is going on with you perimenopausally. So that might be a good primer and a good place to start.
That's great. Cool. All right. Well, I think those are all the questions we have. Robin, you want to come on back? I think you had a few things to tell us. And Stacy, I want to thank you so much for doing this on a late Tuesday night, late TueNight. I hope you'll come back, and we'll see you on the TueNighters, of course.
Oh, and I just wanted to apologize for not being able to work my computer.
Please.
It's
no apologies
totally
needed.
Fine.
Yeah.
It was great. Beth wants to know if we can have a slumber party because we were referencing adolescence.
Yeah.
I am all about it. Yeah.
Can't wait for live events like in person, IRL. We're definitely going to be going back to that as well. So I'm excited.
Good. Yeah. I can't wait for that.
Right. Get you to tell a story.
I will definitely tell a story about a male investor who told me what menopause was like. That's my next.
Yeah. That's a good one.
No. That's insane. I'm excited for that because Stacy, you and I were on TueNight together. That's where we met.
We were.
Oh yeah, that's right.
With Tish James.
I
talked about wieners. Yes. So
wieners and cookies.
That's right.
Perfect.
So I was just going to leave us with just a reminder to join the fantastic community on the Mighty platform. There's a link down below for Join TueNighters. I'll put it in the chat too. And if you want to learn about storytelling, our last class is next Tuesday. We've got so many wonderful classes. Thank you. And we actually have more of a conversation coming up in July all about menopause. So keep your eyes up for that. We're doing it because July is hot. So
it's our theme.
we love themes. We love themes.
Yes, and please go to stateofmenopause.com to check out the products because, you know, when it is July and you are hot, there are lots of cooling products for you.
And by the way, we have a discount code in TueNighters.
Right.
Yep. So you can get, I forget what the percentage is, but anyway, you can get a discount. It's a good one.
It's a 20%.
20%. Thank you.
Thank you. Very generous. I love it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's a great idea to help with your research for us to put something in the platform about questions that people have around menopause. And this conversation is not stopping. It's just getting started to tie it back to TueNight. So, Margit, I will leave it to you to take us home. And so wonderful to see you both with our teas.
Yes. Cheers. Cheers. Yes. I'll just say good night and toast to y'all with your double-fisted tea. Toast to everybody who came tonight. Thank you for being such awesome such awesome guests and everything. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.